No, I missed it. Okay, next is appearance of citizens. Anyone that wants to address this committee? All right. State your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Dan Startup, 138 Butternut Drive, Norris, Tennessee. I'm a general dentist there, been there since about the 80s. My comments today involve the animal shelter. Thank you for letting me come to this. I know it's an operational meeting, but I'll be brief. In addition to some issues that we've seen there, we also had an unfortunate response by the director to my wife. I wanted to mention that. Jill has been volunteering at the shelter since January, 4 days a week, taking different dogs to the park and getting them out of the stressful environment there. The staff specifically told her this would be helpful. The mayor very graciously previously met with Jill in her office, and they talked about the shelter. Jill had some procedural suggestions for improvements, and the mayor asked her to submit these by email. She also copied Damon, the shelter director, on these emails. She tried to meet with him in person, but he was never able to make that happen. Well, we received a response from the director that was quite surprising and a bit hurtful to both of us, as we'd enjoyed trying to make a contribution there. In the message, he accused Jill of slandering him, the employees, and the shelter. You'll receive all written comments from the parties tomorrow, and you can see there's no slandering whatsoever, only some suggestions for improvement. The director went on to tell Jill she was no longer welcome to volunteer. We both volunteer in other organizations, and generally volunteers are highly sought after, especially those who have positive energy and want to show up and do something. So this was surprising as well, especially given that it's a taxpayer-supported organization. In its current form, the shelter's not an organization that seems to function at a healthy, high level, and certainly not one striving for excellence and listening to ideas for improvement. Communications are poor. Procedural duties involving animals are falling through the cracks. If you go there as a volunteer or as a potential pet owner, you will see this. It would seem obvious that some type of oversight board is needed. Other shelters in our areas utilize these. Issues that arise could be dealt with specifically and timely. And we would love for you to reach out to Jill or myself to discuss things. 3 minutes is long enough, not long enough to talk about those here, and it's not the right place, but thank you for allowing me to speak, and you will have our personal contact information along with those written communications. Thank you.
I saw 2 more hands. Who else wants to speak? Name and address, please.
My name is Tracy Parker. My address is 3607 Sevierville Road, Maryville, Tennessee. Okay. Wasn't sure if this is the right place to bring this up, but I was here 3 years ago in 2021. I own a fireworks company in Blount County, Tennessee. You remember? Okay. I know that you guys had passed. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not political at all. It passed something that just said that Anderson County residents, could possibly start enjoying fireworks on the 4th of July with their families to celebrate. That's something Anderson County, I guess, has not ever allowed. Of course, I live in Blount County. We allow it now. City of Maryville, City of Alcoa, Sevier County. We have multiple locations in Kentucky. We're in Union County as well. So really surrounding Anderson County. And it's just something I would like to see open up in Anderson County, and I was hoping to ask for that to be brought up again. I'm not sure. I know it passed the first reading, and then something happened, and it did not pass the second time. And I had COVID, and I wasn't here for the second reading, so I'm not sure what the concerns were.
The legislative committee went to the state and came back. It failed at full commission.
Didn't get ratified, right?
Huh?
Didn't get ratified.
They didn't get ratified, that's correct.
Yeah, I had talked to the law director at that time, and just to try to see what had happened, or if there were any questions, if there was something I could help with, because this is obviously something I care about as a business, but just as a person, that lives in this country and would like for people to have the freedom to celebrate with fireworks. And I've seen how that's played out inside the city of Maryville and the city of Alcoa, and they're pretty restrictive there. Blount County's not, but Alcoa and Maryville are, and it's working for us. And so I'm not sure what happened. And I'd just like to bring it up again to see if it's possible to revisit
I
it.
think the chairman of the legislative committee's in the room, is that correct? Are you?
I'm a new chairman. I don't remember this issue.
Okay.
No, you wouldn't. It's been a
I
couple
wasn't
years
there
ago.
then, no.
But the thing to do is contact the chairman of the legislative committee,
Okay.
and she can put that on the agenda, if that's okay.
Okay, sure. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Commissioner Anthony Allen, 109 New Bedford Lane, Oak Ridge. Thank you for having me. I would like to ask for help to improve the academic performance of the Anderson County schools. And this improvement has nothing to do with school funding, the capital outlay, teachers, principals, or the administrators. It is a matter with the school, and specifically the performance of the schools that are not really performing up to par. And so I'd like to really address that. And according to the Tennessee Board of Education and TCA 491228, there are some regulations that have to do with that. For instance, it says that the schools should develop a school letter rating system to provide parents and families with information that shows how our public schools are performing. I think this is very, very important. And I have here some information that will show you how those schools are performing.
Where did you?
This came off of the Tennessee Board of Education website. If you look at the bottom there, that tells you those references that you can look at. But as you can see, there's a color code along the right-hand side. Since yours isn't in color, I just labeled those colors. Red is not very good. You can see that Anderson County High School went from a previous grade of B to a C. You have some schools that have gone from C's to a D, and Lake City actually went from a B to a D. And there are some very, very good schools there too. For example, Norris Elementary went from a D to a B, and we have Norris Elementary School, they went from a D to a C. So the idea is really to get people to understand and to see how our schools are actually doing. And I would like for that to be addressed. One of the things too is that we do have a very big report that Dr. Parrott gives to us every commission meeting. And I would like for that report to really include some data that would be predictive to show how we are actually working on improving the schools. It doesn't have anything to do with firing teachers, harming the students, but I think this commission needs to have some data that they can, look at that will help them to determine how well these schools are doing.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
What my suggestion would be, because I'm a big supporter of boards and committees,
Yeah.
is to reach out to your representative on the school board in your district, and maybe perhaps do some type of joint meeting together, a workshop or something. I understand your concerns, and every commissioner here, wants the best schools that we can have in Anderson County. If there's anything that we can do to help, I'm sure that everybody here would be able to do that. And
Sure. Well,
that
thank
would be
you.
my suggestion.
Yeah. If you look at the report there, at the bottom, it says red. We have a letter grade has dropped one or more letter grade. So 40% of our schools, the letter grade has actually dropped. The yellow is the letter grade remained the same. In other words, there was no improvement. So 46% of our schools in Anderson County made no improvement whatsoever. And the green letter means that 2 schools did improve. And so I would just want the commission to be aware of what's taking place in our school system. And maybe we could have Dr. Parrish report to reflect some sort of idea or reflect a way what they're doing to help these schools improve.
Or you could, the other suggestion, if you wanted to, is we could maybe put it on operations committee next month and ask Dr. Parrott to come, and it'd be up to you.
Yeah, that would be helpful, but I do think that there's data that we could use that could help predict how these schools will perform. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other citizens that want to approach this committee? All right, we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have with me tonight Jason Mann, who is our engineering consultant for stormwater. I had put this particular topic on the agenda 2 months ago in order to give the commissioners plenty of time and the public to read the agenda and see it on the agenda. I brought it back for action last month, and it was determined or requested that we have Mr. Mann present to be able to answer some questions. So Jason is here. We are required to do an update to our stormwater resolution. We have had a public comment period. We also have kept this posted on the homepage of the Anderson County website. We have a stormwater site that has all of the relevant information, as well as a copy of the map, as well as an interactive map. And I'll turn it over to Jason if you all have any questions on this particular item concerning the update.
Name and address first.
Go right ahead.
Jason Mann, 5122 Coalmire Road in Knoxville, Tennessee, 37912. I came tonight to just address any concerns you guys have associated with TDEC's requirement to invoke some sort of permanent stormwater standard associated with your stormwater program. It's aimed to reduce flooding in your community. We've done some infrastructure mapping and prioritization for any repairs as necessary in what's called your urbanized area. We're applying these new detention flooding requirements for new and residential developments, commercial and industrial developments, in what's called your urbanized area. It's a part of the census process, and they drew out some maps associated with their data that they collected, issued these formal maps, and you guys operate underneath a permit issued by TDEC that says you will implement permanent stormwater standards within the urbanized area at a minimum or countywide. We've definitely pulled that back to a much smaller area. Instead of your 343 square miles, we just apply this to your 12.86 square miles, or what's called an urban area. Again, according to the census. We have an interactive map on the stormwater page where you can zoom in and out, see your property, see whether this applies to you or not. It's really just outside of the municipalities primarily. As you would guess, you know, if you could kind of guess what an urban growth boundary would look like around some of the municipalities. And so you can kind of see some of those maps. Again, we have an interactive version of this on the stormwater, Anderson County stormwater page. So you can zoom in and out to your exact house, see if it applies to your neighbor or you. The new resolution that we've put together, that I believe passed first reading, has reference to the permanent stormwater standards in there that have been adopted by the Tennessee Senate by rule, TDEC's rules 400-40-1004, that requires permanent stormwater standards. It really requires what's called a water quality treatment volume to be retained on site. That is the major headache for all the developers in the area. It's going to require essentially detention ponds, if you can think. I mean, you can think of it as basic as requiring detention ponds. City of Clinton has this. Oak Ridge has this. Norris has these. And again, this applies to very small strips around those other municipalities where some of those developers and landowners are prepared to be dealing with that a little bit more than your rural portions of the community that we would not want to apply this to at all.
I think most commissioners came in and saw your presentation that you had before.
Yes, yes.
Very in-depth,
Yes.
real easy to read.
Sorry.
And I think Commissioner McCamey wants to make a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to forward to full commission with recommendation for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Foster, discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mann, for being here and the explanation. Thank you, Mayor, for allowing this to go another 30 days. Very helpful. I guess my question is, if there's somebody in my district that might fall in this stormwater floodplain, they will not be affected until they go to sell the property, I guess?
The way it works is when we issue a land disturbance permit, we review a site development plan, and that will be part of the review process, is this water quality retention volume, right?
But as they sit now, they're not going to be affected?
Definitely not.
Okay. Yeah, all right. And again, to the mayor's point and what you've said, this has been out there for several months now, and it's on the website. If somebody's got a question, they can go to the Anderson County website and look on the stormwater.
Yes, sir, or come down to the department where Danny does a great job of showing you on your maps of where you're at and where any of this would apply to. I just gave you the little 8.5 by 11, I'm sorry, but.
And that would be in zoning on the first floor if anybody's got any questions.
Correct, at the main.
And the overall amount is like 12 point whatever acres, just under 13 acres
Yes,
total
The little
everywhere.
slivers of land are only 12.86 square miles of your county.
But that's the total of the whole county, that 12 acres.
Additional.
Yeah, additional, okay.
That it applies to.
Okay,
yes,
thank you. I
yes.
appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny.
And then the other item, Mr. Chairman, is there is a new state law that is passed that mandates electronic monitoring of individuals who have committed certain offenses. And it also requires through that electronic monitoring that we notify victims. The District Attorney General, law enforcement, members of the judiciary all met and determined that the pretrial release department is the best to manage this program. So we are working through hiring additional personnel. That did pass budget committee. And so that's why I hope the committee will forgive me for adding this at that late moment. I did not want to get ahead of the budget committee process, so that's why I kind of waited. Because pretrial is a very small office, they do not have room for more personnel. So I am wishing to ask Commission to authorize the following room change assignments. And these all have the support and approval of the trustee, the bailiffs, and pretrial release. So the current configuration is the bailiffs are in room 121, the trustee tax freeze program in 119, and pretrial is in 103. And the changes would be amongst those three, moving bailiffs to 103, pretrial to 119, and the trustee tax freeze to 121.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Foster, second by Commissioner McCamey.
Just a fruit basket turnover, right?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I wish to thank these folks. They work really well together, and this also keeps the tax freeze office. It's really just right next door, so any seniors or elderly that are used to coming in are not gonna be confused. It's just gonna be one door down, so they won't miss a beat. So.
All right, Mayor, wait, instead of bringing the water line up in New River under unfinished business, would you care to address that?
So, in checking with Robert Campbell, the estimates still remain at $2.5 to $3 million to run a water line. Of course, Robert did say with all that's going on right now, that is also based on there could be unforeseen issues. Of course, you know, barring a full going in there and doing full construction documents, you don't know what any of the unforeseens are. I did check with the Water Authority. I guess we didn't talk about it last month, but I talked to them the prior month about Commissioner McCamey's idea of constructing a well if some property were donated to the county and the county funded that, and then pumping it down to the individuals. And I was told that even with that, even if the county did that, that it would still be supplying, if the Water Authority takes it over, it would still be supplying public water, and at that point, they would have to go into the standards where with the well system, you do have to check on it daily, and that it would not be feasible for the small number of people that would be served for them to do that on a daily basis with that well. So I did let them know that I would come to the next meeting of the Water Authority this month and just continue to keep the topic alive, but that's where I am so far.
Okay. Commissioner
When do
McCamey?
they meet, do you know?
I think, is it the third Thursday? I can't remember. I'll look that up and let you know. They're supposed to email me their agenda.
Okay, I'd like to go too.
Okay.
A suggestion, could we reach out to State Representative Butler, see if there's any money available at the state, any type of, you know, emergency? Because, you know, this is a real big need for that area. I know it's just a small amount of people,
Yeah.
but whether it's four or 400, it's still real important. So I would suggest, you know, maybe, and I'll reach out to him as well.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, I think I would add Commissioner, or Representative Scarborough in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll only say Butler because that's his area now.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, but absolutely.
You need a motion, or
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's something we're gonna do on our own.
what meeting was you talking about?
The Water Authority?
Yeah, I'd like to, if I could, get that agenda invite as well. I'd like to go.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds great. We'll all be there. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I came on this commission 40 years ago, and one of my goals then was to get utility water to everybody in Anderson County.
Yeah.
And this is the only area right now that doesn't have it. We've got it to everybody in the county except this one area.
But,
And
and, you know, when you talk about it, it's just a limited amount of people it's gonna serve. What's it gonna do for the infrastructure? Because what we've been trying to do for years is build that community. And to build a community, you gotta have the infrastructure. So, you know, campgrounds is a big thing in Anderson County right now.
Right.
ATVs, that's been the resurgence of the New River area so far. And Mr. Burgess here, and he'll tell you what it feels like to have internet now. Because so many years, you know, we've got students, we've got people, you know, it's like living back in the 50s. You got a landline phone and you rely on everybody else. I mean, it's different. It's very humble over there. I mean, it's great. It's a beautiful place. There's even one of these big car dealers that actually advertise, and that's where they got their cars at, is over in New River. So, yeah, it's beautiful. Anything else? Sure, just come on up, state your name and address, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you. I understand.
Go ahead and give your name and address, so everybody, name and address,
Otis Phillips, 8367 New River Highway.
okay?
I understand that, you know, it's gonna cost a lot of money. But like I think, Chairman, you said, I mean, we need water up there. And I do have a question. Does the Water Authority, don't they have the equipment to do that for a lot less money than that?
and I work some with the water authority, they're limited on what they can do. I mean, they can do the small things, and some of the bigger equipment they don't have, but that'd be a question that we'll need to ask.
Well, you know, no offense to anybody, but I've been dealing with this since 2014. And everything, it seems like everybody just gives up on it. And I appreciate it if somebody would step up and see if we can get something done. And I mean, she said about the water authority, how long is it gonna take one man to come over there? What, a couple hours, sample of water? You know, I really don't see that, but we need help up there. And for as the property, I hadn't mentioned this before, I've got 39 acres up there. It's useless without water. It's useless without water. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming all the way over here. Okay, anything else? Mayor, does that complete your report?
That's all my report.
Okay, we'll go back to ASAP quarterly report.
Good evening. Good to see you guys today. We actually just got back on late on Friday from Washington, D.C., so we've had a busy couple of months. We were in D.C. actually on our federal advocacy trip, and we will have our state advocacy trip next week. Wanted to highlight a few things that we have going on and gave you guys those packets there. A few things that happened on our trip is that we did get to go to the Hill and meet with Representative Fleischman. Got to give him an update on what substance use looks like here in Anderson County and also what it looks like with our youth. We are expecting about a 5% decrease in overdoses across the state, which is huge. That's going to be the first decrease that we've ever seen. So we know that a lot of the work that multiple people are doing, it's a combined effort for sure. It's not just prevention. We have treatment and recovery that is in that, but we do know that some of the things that we're doing are working, and so we're really thankful for the lives that have truly been saved in the state of Tennessee. So we got to meet with him. A couple of the other things that I will highlight is that while we were there, we got to get a few podcast recordings in our log, and so those will be coming out. Would encourage you guys to check that out if you haven't already, and for community members, we have launched this podcast back in the fall, and really excited about the opportunity to get to hear stories from across the state, from here in our community, and then got to sit down actually with Chuck Fleischman while we were there and hear from him as well. So looking forward to how this podcast can serve our community and serve our state. On the back of that page, you will see the highlights from our Tennessee Together survey, some really great data that we were able to collect from both Anderson County and Oak Ridge schools. This is the first time that we've had complete Anderson County data since 2020. So very thankful for the participation from both school districts and what we were able to gather from that. So we will utilize this survey as we continue to do our work moving forward, so that we are moving forward with students in mind and can use their voice on what they're seeing and what they're experiencing within the school district. A couple of things that I'll highlight on this for you all is that what we did see is that there's a higher use among our female students versus our male students, just something that was really interesting to me. And then also the peer and parental disapproval on the back page, the second page there. Something to note is that our peer disapproval is actually a lot closer to our parental disapproval than it is to peers from the student and their parents. So proving that the conversations that our parents and our trusted adults in the kids' lives are making a difference, that those conversations do matter. And so just want to continue to encourage those trusted adults and parents in students' lives to continue to have those open and honest conversations with their students, because it does matter and it does make a difference. The last thing that I have for you before I hand it over to Savannah is on the left side of your folder there are all of our legislative priorities. Just wanted to give these to you all so that you all had an idea of what's coming up this legislative session from us.
I'll go next. I will take Savannah's place. Sarah Bean. I'm going to go over the parent resources just very briefly. This is just something we've put together. I teach our vaping class, I think, as you all know. I get a lot of questions about, okay, my kid's been caught, now what? What do I do now? So this is just an overview of some great resources. So, for example, if they're vaping, some different opportunities that they have to quit. Also some different substance misuse resources that we share within the community. And then, as we all know, vaping, substance misuse almost always connects back to mental health. So there's some different resources for our mental health providers that we partner with. Just so that way parents are informed. It can be really overwhelming when your kid all of a sudden comes home vaping and you're like, what in the heck happened? Where do I go from here? So that was just another resource that we hope to provide our parents.
Can I ask you a question before you leave about vaping?
Of
I know
course.
the state is working on some legislation to control vaping better. Do you know anything about that?
Which one specifically? There's a few.
Which one predominantly would be best suited for our situation for what we have here for the underage, going in and buying? We talked about taking that up, like the Responsible Vendor Act.
Right.
Get
So we are working, I actually just sent a couple emails while we were in DC to start doing some compliance checks. So that's something we're hoping to increase here locally with our vendors, just to see what that looks like and to make sure that folks are following those protocols that they're required to as far as age verification.
Okay. So that's part of the legislation that they're working on as well.
Yeah, there's a few other bills. They're also working on a vapor tax, hoping to tax the vapor products because that isn't something that they're currently doing, and actually allowing a portion of that to go back into prevention. And then I think it's 15% to go back into the health department for cessation, and then the rest to the general fund.
All right, one other question. What's our position on for potholes?
That would be a negative.
That's what I thought, but I said they want to tax
Yeah.
pot to be able to fix potholes.
I think we can find other and innovative solutions to fix the potholes in the Tennessee, but
Yeah. I thought so. I just wanted to get that up there. Go ahead.
deny it's a catchy name, though.
Yeah.
All right, so kind of to finish this up here, so on the back of that parent resource, I've got an update on nitazines. I brought nitazines to you all when it was an emerging substance. Like Shayla said, we're expecting a 5% decrease in the fatal overdoses across the state, but that's just an expectation. We are still working off of our 2022 data year, so we're hoping our 2023 data year comes out any second now. But when that does come out, we are expecting to see more nitazines. So nitazines refers to a group of powerful illicit opioids. Lab tests are saying that it is stronger than fentanyl, which is unfortunate to see. And it is being used all across the country, not just in Tennessee, but we are seeing it in Tennessee. I put some quick facts in there for you. In 2022, the highest prevalency of nitazines was in Knox County, but I don't want to scare you guys. That's not because it was the most in Knox County. That's just because Knox County has the most testing for nitazines. A lot of our nitazines cases are going underreported because the testing is a little bit more difficult to find that. So yes, we are seeing that in Knox County, and yes, it is close to us, but because we use the same ME as Knox County, we can hope that our nitazines in Anderson County are hopefully as accurate, but we'll be keeping a close eye on that as well. 100% of nitazene use in Tennessee has been multi-substance. All of the fatalities have had at least one other substance involved. The most common are going to be fentanyl and methamphetamine. But what we are seeing nationwide, according to the DEA that told us when we were in DC at one of our sessions, 30% of nationwide nitazene fatalities are involving xylazine. Xylazine, if you'll remember, is not an opioid, but it is a veterinary tranquilizer. It is something that does not respond to Narcan. It is independently addictive, and it does, after long-term IV use or intravenous use, it will create that skin necrosis or those deep, severe wounds that are very scary to see all around. So mixing xylazine with synthetic opioids typically elongates the high. That's why we're seeing it pop up so much. So we're just wanting to make everybody aware. We want to let everyone know that we're keeping an eye on this, keeping you all informed of what's going on. The last thing I'll say about nitazines is that they are respondent to Narcan or naloxone. They are opioids, so they are respondent, but because they are so powerful, it can take stronger and stronger doses to bring somebody back from an overdose. But it is something that's a myth that they're not respondent. They are respondents. So just wanted to bring that update to you all when we get our data back from the state of Tennessee for that 2023 data year. I'm sure you'll see me right back up here telling you some hopefully good news, but also reminding you all that we're keeping up with what's evolving, and we're working at that uphill battle. So if you all have any questions about this or anything we've brought to you all tonight, please feel free to let us know. Yes.
Question. So with xylazine, is the DA maybe going to possibly, since it's becoming addictive, I mean, it is addictive and being used for illicit use, are they possibly going to put it under a DA class? Like
I'm not,
2 or 3?
I'm not aware of anything right now, but I'm sure they're keeping an eye on it. Do you have any
Okay.
other?
I actually got to attend that session. It was really fascinating. I will say that it wouldn't surprise me if they did, mainly because the new DEA director seems very on top of it and very open to a lot of different solutions. He was very impressive, and so he did talk about classing some other things and what that looks like. So I would expect that it will likely be something that he takes up.
Okay. Thank you for. I just asked that because I'm still a pharmacy tech by trade, do more higher education. But when I worked at Methodist Medical Center, I was the one looking for trends, and also the narcotic tech, looking to see who's using or taking things that they're not supposed to. So that just triggered something for me. So thank you for giving me that
You're welcome.
information.
And we will keep you guys updated. We are getting those updates from them as they come out. So if anything does come up, we will absolutely send it your all's way. Any other questions?
Commissioner Wendell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate y'all and what you do. We're blessed to have you in our county doing what you do. It just means a lot that you're reaching out to our kids and the future. I think I've asked this question before, but have you guys applied for the opioid funds that here in the county?
We
And
have, yes.
I just sure hope that you're able to be successful in that endeavor, and I know you use the funds wisely. And now the podcast, are you promoting that in the school system? Is the school system working with you to get that in there so the kids can kind of tune in and listen?
Right now, with the episodes that we've put out, they're primarily for our older, like youth and then adults, trying to get those stories out. But we have talked about it in some of our school presentations, and it's available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get podcasts.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what? Nothing was read from script. Y'all did a superb job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, Commissioner Wendell, Representative Flashman wanted us to tell you hello.
Wow, wow.
Don't worry. I told him I was from Claxton. I let him know that you all led us to a basketball championship back in my day. So he
I wasn't,
enjoyed that.
and as you know, it wasn't me, it was you guys.
Next, we have our favorite property assessor, Johnny Alley.
Favorite of one, favorite of one.
Well, I'm here for informational purposes and only just give you a status report of my office and how we're progressing with the reappraisal and some things we're looking for. And I don't expect any votes tonight. I just have these handouts because I know there's a lot of information between now and County Commission. I'm sure it'll take a while to read some of this. First off, on the front is our 4-year reappraisal plan, and I appreciate you all voting to go to the 4-year plan last meeting, but this is a layout of the maps, and we have to do this every reappraisal year. We have to have a plan for the upcoming the next reappraisal, which in this case would be 2020.
Has everybody got one of those, except for me?
You handed out your copy.
I did, yeah. Thanks, sir.
You're his least favorite.
Yeah.
Probably says now, so.
Anyway, that spells out the maps we do, and it's the entire schedule of how we have to conduct the new reappraisal. We did one in 10 for 15 for the 2020 reappraisal. We did one 2020 for 2025, and now this one will be 2029. But you can look that over, and I can answer any questions or whatever. It's pretty generic. It's just we moved everything up. Some of the counties are going to a 4-year. They're doing 25% each year, and they're going to push 25% to the next reappraisal. I've got it set up where in 3 years we're going to do 33 1/3, say, a year, and then reappraise on the 4th. So we'll have all of our review work done before the reappraisal gets here. I don't anticipate new employees. I would like some. Since we're going to be doing 20% more work with hopefully the same amount of employees, I'd like to I'll come to budget, but I'd like some kind of a bump or compensation to employees for doing that much extra work. But with that, though, we're going to have, and I'm asking for, it's a bleak imagery. It's called pictometry. It's the latest, greatest 1-inch imagery for our mapping system. We've not upgraded it probably since the original went in. We were one of the first counties with GIS. There's several that got it. Knox County's got it. Roane, I believe Sevier. There's probably 20 counties in East Tennessee that's got pictometry. And behind, it's called Eagle View, and there's two proposed budget proposals with Eagle View in there. It's a 2-year or a 3-year flyover, depending on which one you use is what the cost is going to be. And I know one of our larger cities is, I think, been talking with Eagle View, so hopefully they'll come in and do part of the contract with us where it won't be so, it just won't be the county paying for the whole entire project. Eagle View is good. There's different, as you read through there, you can see where it's, it helps fire, police, EMS, the planning departments, which planning uses our maps now, but it's just a lot better imagery on these with Eagle View. There's one here, it's called Change Finder. When they do one flight, when they do the second flight, it'll show anything new. It'll highlight anything that's new on that property, wasn't there on the first flight, and that's beneficial. And it's such good imagery, it'll reduce the amount of time that field workers are needed to be out in the field where it's dangerous. And also fire and EMS, like there's a fire at a farm facility or an industrial facility, it'll show like where the natural gas tanks or whatever is sitting there, so the fire, so they tell where there'll be an explosion. They can pull up the imagery and also see like escape places to put ladders for in the fire department to assist
Who all
people.
would have access to that?
Anybody that I authorize would have access to it, and there's no limit to any, like a utility company, CUB, Powell Clinch, ORUD, any of those, CUB.
The fire departments?
Fire departments, anybody, planning department. It's I mean, they use what we've got now, but this is just so much better. And then it'll help us with the change finders. Like I said, it'll pick up anything that's new on the map. They'll do a flyover. Then when they do the second one, you say 2 years down the road, anything that's new on that map, it'll come up as a different color.
Commissioner Yeager?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. We have a couple of cities that overlap into other counties. Oak Ridge, with Roane, and then Oliver Springs with 7 or 8 other counties. Are they going to be able to stay in sync with the other counties they're in? Or do you know how that's being played?
I don't know about the flyovers. If we schedule a flyover the same year, but they're responsible for their county, we would ours. But actually, that's how we wound up finding out how good it was. Roane County's had it for 2 years, and they flew over part of Oak Ridge in Anderson County. We picked it up off the impact system and found the maps for Anderson County in there, and it was really good. And Billy's, of course, he's the head mapper. He's the one that he was skeptical about it at first, but now he's a big fan because it's.
Are you on the same 4-year?
We're on
plan
4 year
as
with
Roane?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been talking. I've talked to Roane and I've been talking for over 2 years just about this one going to a 4-year, and we considered a 3, but I think for the financial part and then the ease of it, and I guess the safety too is you don't know you're in uncharted waters when you go and take that big of a step. And we can amend in the middle of this cycle if we want to. We can go from a 4 to a 3 2 years in. It's what Blunt just did. Everybody thought Blunt just went to a 3. Well, they were on I think they were on a 4-year. They're supposed to reappraise in 27, and they just decided they would try it for 26 and make it a 3-year reappraisal.
Okay.
And some counties have elected to stay with the 5. They didn't change at all. But I think a 4 is a good move. It's quicker reappraisal.
Johnny, thank you for this information. Certainly look it over. I'm just curious about the DOE properties and TVA. I guess is that just going to be like a flat assessment rate? I guess my question is the properties that are brought back into commercial, call it, is that something your department takes in consideration when we do these reappraisals? And then that's for DOE, and then on the other side, so they might go commercial, right? And then I'd like to know how we capture that commercial piece if it goes commercial. And then on the TVA side, how's it gonna look, for instance, at Bull Run, when they bring in the new technology there, Type 1, the fusion process? How's all that play into your department?
Well, if I understand correctly, anytime DOE donates land or gives land to, say, another entity, it's non-governmental, then, yeah, we would pick it up. If they give us a survey, we'd add it back into our maps and then get the owner and send the tax assessment to them for the property. Now, if it's governmental, if it's one governmental entity to another, like if they give it to the city of Oak Ridge, I don't know. I'd have to look at the agreement on that.
Some of these do, I forget what the term is, but yeah, they're, I'd like to learn more about that, make sure we're capturing all we
It
can.
probably is going to be, each case I would think would be different, but I don't know. I don't know, depending on how it's written and who receives it.
Right.
Yeah, if it's an independent owner, non-governmental, then yes, then we would definitely pick it up and put it in just like any other industrial park or whatever the use is.
Thank you, Johnny.
Oh, you're welcome. And then I've got one more. This is one of the, I guess it's called state unfunded mandates. I've got two of them, actually. A couple of years ago, we were tasked with picking up short-term rentals for value, and there's several rules that goes with that. But there's a company, it's hard for us to find them because even if you go to book one, you look on, you don't get the address. So then you really don't know who the owner is. But there's a company called Rentalscape, and it's Deckard Technologies. And I'm asking for this too, I'll putting it into the budget proposal. But it's a company that they will locate all these short-term rentals that I'm supposed to be picking up and putting on the tax roll. And they'll give you the owner's name, the amount of days rented, and the income that they make, and their address. So it's pretty good. And any other company that's quoted me up to this point has been 23 to 27, 28,000, and they said that I've got a proposal in here for $5,000 from this company, and I think it'll be money well spent. All the companies that went with all the counties that went with one of the others up till now are leaving and going with this company. And I've got good reviews from them. But like I said, it's Deckard Technology, and their product's called Rentalscape, and all the information's in here. It'll help us in appeals if if somebody comes in and they say, well, we've only rented it 3 days this year. I'm gonna say, well, I've got information that says you rented it 83 or 153, and that's something that we're supposed to know because we can use the income approach on them at that point to prove value. Anyway, any more questions or any comments?
Do we need to accept this information, or?
No, I've just given it to you for
information?
full commission. I just I'm trying to get out ahead. As soon as this come off the press, like with the reappraisal plan, I didn't get that till last Thursday, so I went to a budget committee meeting Thursday afternoon, and then tonight, as soon as I could get in front of you all, I wanted to let you have it so you have plenty of time to read. I know there's a lot there, but in the plan, it's basic. It's like all the other plans. I've reduced the time frame it's going to take to get the reappraisal done, and what we're doing is capturing value quicker.
There's a lot of information here, especially how it works when you recertify and the tax rate changes.
Well,
You're
that's a
still gonna
paper,
bring in the
it's
same
all,
amount.
the comptroller or the executive secretary, I think the state board sent that out. I don't know if I'm supposed to give it to everybody. They didn't give me any directions. They just sent it to me, and it says to everyone, so I give it to everyone. But it spells out each step that you have to take if you want to exceed the certified rate, if you're going to accept the certified rate, and how it's calculated, and all the things that go into it.
This right here that you're talking about, is the Tourism Bureau, do they have access to that too? Because
They will.
okay, because she's got something now that she's doing. You remember it, Michael?
No, we talked about this the other day. We couldn't remember the name of it.
Yeah. But anyway,
There's
they track that as well.
Yeah, there's a company called GovOS that was in here, was in the city, in the counties, but I didn't, they promised we'd get a lot of hotel motel tax, and I just couldn't calculate. I didn't think it was, that was one of the companies that's not, everybody's leaving them.
Mhm.
And then there's,
Placer that tracks everything.
Placer.
Then finally it came to
what's the name of it?
Placer, and it like geofences things, and it We can not think of the name of it.
We actually voted on it to do it here, you know, make sure that we wasn't Big Brother that, you know,
Yeah.
just,
The tracks when people are visiting and staying and they stay the night or just come for the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all about it yet. I've not got to review it live yet, but I'd like to see what they got to offer. Ray County used it and they just switched from another company. She said it's
I
much
think
better.
it's a good tool, you know, going forward, because
Well,
it tells you where you-
$5,000 is not even enough, you know, it wouldn't cover one employee.
And you've already got that in your budget.
I could transfer it out of one of those accounts, but I'll ask for it at
No, we
budget
don't
time.
do that. That
That's
goes
a
on.
different committee.
But I am
5,000
gonna-
will take you years.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that mapping though, because hopefully I can get some contributions from other entities. Like,
Yeah.
that's what happened when Anderson County first got GIS. Your utilities pitched in some of the cities,
That's a
and
good
each
idea.
year, we still give them a shapefile with all the new upgraded data every year, and if they need one in the middle of the year, we'll give it to them. If they're working on a project, you know, a sewer project, water line project, any of the utilities, still get them in the cities.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, I mean, I'm gonna have to, you know, I've got to do a lot of fast talking to get in front of them. Any more questions? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the law director report.
So I asked this to be put on the agenda, just as for discussion, if we want to make direction on it. But the law director report currently goes to full commission without going through any committee. That's the only one report that comes to full commission without going to committee, like the mayor's report. She either comes operation or budget committee. Sometimes there's action items we need to take for the law director's report. So I was just thinking, could we run it through this committee? So if there is something, because sometimes we get stuff and we want them to look at things, but then like, if we bring it through the committee, if there's any more follow-up we need before the full commission, he can go back and make changes, resolutions. So that was why I wanted to bring it to you. I'll see what you thought about that. It just kind of moves his report up 1 week compared to what it normally is, because there's just some things that I feel like we get on the agenda and we're getting it, not at the last minute, but we're getting it on the agenda and we hadn't had a chance to ask questions, where we could, and sometimes we ask questions, he's like, hey, I need to go back and change this, or let me look further into it. It gives him that week to kind of do that, and allows the budget committee to kind of ask those same questions. But I am open for discussion and thoughts on that. I just wanted to bring that to the to this committee to see what you guys thought about running it through here first, and then any action items he would bring for the full report, just like the mayor does for budget.
Mr. Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we have the Legal Advisory Committee that meets, it hadn't met for quite a while. I think it was 2019 prior to reconvene, and we recently reconvened it. The mayor is the chairman of the Legal Advisory Committee. We have a meeting Friday, I believe, Friday morning sometime. That committee was formed based on the private act that was established to form the law director's office. So we have been meeting quite regularly, and a lot of that meeting was to obviously hire a new law director, which we have. So I would just encourage everybody to come to the Legal Advisory Committee. There are minutes made, there are motions, and the law director gives us a complete report on everything he's working on, and we ask questions. All the department heads are represented, the HR, all the departments are at the table, trustee, everyone. And that's what we do right now.
You made that as a motion?
I didn't make it, I just brought it for discussion because, and I guess previously that committee hadn't met in a long time.
Correct.
So that's why I said, I just know previously we've had a lot, in the 2 years, we've had a lot of stuff come to full commission without it kind of not going anywhere, but it came into full commission. We had questions about
Go ahead
it.
and make a motion.
I'll make the motion to
Commissioner
run it
Yeager,
through
second for
operations.
discussion.
That's not what I was doing, but I will. Second.
And then, yeah, so we can discuss it more. I will make that a motion to.
Did we reconstitute the members of legal services to just commissioners? Is that?
That was the ethics committee.
Oh, ethics. Okay. All right. Thanks.
There's only 3 commissioners on
The legal services.
the legal services. So if commission did want more of an update for commissioners, then coming to operations would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, and Commissioner or Chairman, and that's the main thing, because there is action items we take through for the law director or ask him to report on something for us, and I thought if he can bring it here first before it goes full commission, if there's any of that follow-up discussion, hey, yes, we want to make a resolution out of that, or we see this tweak in the resolution. It's hard to do that on the night of commission meeting, and then where we go, hey, we'll pass this, or we defer it because we couldn't, there was some language. So that's more not in the processes or anything like that, which I know all that's kind of being looked at again because of the private act and opening it back, going through that process of looking at the private act. But this is just more his report that he gives us monthly on those action items. And sometimes it's just, the questions of there's some new code stuff that we've had to file on where, it's hard to ask, it's easier to ask that in a committee and go, hey, can we look at this? What does that mean? Then we come, if there's action item, we can deal with it at full commission. So this gives us a week, gives him a week to kind of address those things and if we need to tweak it. But that's the only reason I brought it up, to see what everybody thought.
Mr. McCamey?
I was just going to inform you that I've got another commitment. I've got to leave.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you. And that's a great prayer.
thank you.
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Any other discussion? And I'll tell you why I like this idea. Is previously, under law director's report, we'd get, during full commission, we'd get names. And then something came up where the county ended up paying out a great deal of money. And so I asked why, why wasn't this brought up? Well, that name was on that committee. You didn't ask any questions. It was on the thing. So, and I thought, that's bad on my point, because all these names was on there and I didn't ask each one. But we got a neighboring county, and I'm not saying we need to do that, because we got a new law director and he's new and he's really listening and trying his best. Is every time the law director report comes up, there's one commissioner says, do we need to go into executive committee to have any conversation on any name that's down here? I mean, that's just their normal thing. We don't do that. But I really like for, the opportunity to go over some of the things that's on the law director's report. But, and of course, I served on the Legal Services Advisory Committee and was chairman for a while, and it's a good committee. They take care of a lot of things, but I think transparency is what we, the more transparent that we can be in Anderson County government, the better it is for the people. That's my thought. So, any other discussion? So your motion?
It's the law director report would come through operations first before going to full commission.
Okay.
Just kind of like I said, I'm gonna use the mayor's report because she brings that stuff through this committee first, or budget if it is a budget item, she takes it there. But it goes one way or the other before it gets full commission, where we have those discussions, or we can say, hey, go back, like, hey, Mayor, you brought this resolution, there's some tweaks, let's defer it. You didn't go to full commission because we deferred it in this committee.
Okay. And Commissioner Yeager, do you stand by that second?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Commissioner Anderson?
Does that have any impact on executive sessions? Can we have those in a committee meeting, or does that have to be the full commission body that?
I don't know that there would be anything in the law director's report, maybe a suggestion, we need to have an executive session, which would then take place at commission. I think, Commissioner Anderson, I think that would be the way to handle it.
So we wouldn't be,
We're not
we're not gonna meet executive operations and then have another executive session.
Right. Yeah, just general information.
And one other thing, this does not have to go into effect next month if he needs time to kind of get that schedule set, because I know some things if he's working on stuff and it's like, okay, hey, next month I need this a week earlier than you would have brought it to us, but I'm okay with that kicking in like the following 2 months, if that helps you.
I'm fine to start at the next operations. Like you say, we'll just speed up by 1 week. Well, we may supplement it if something major happens during that week. I have a couple of things that would be part of my report this month that would be what we would call action items. They're simple things, a resolution and a release that we've prepared. Do you want me to let you review that tonight, or do you want me to stick with the plan to put it with my report for the commission this month?
That's a commission.
Yeah, I mean, because one procedurally, I know put it on the agenda, law director report, but I don't want to throw you to just bring it back to full commission, because I know
That's
this
fine.
month we even have an extra week, but that's up to this board how they want to handle it, but I don't want to throw that on you tonight.
All right, so I don't have a report tonight, so we'll go ahead and do a commission report this month. And then next month, we will have that report for operations. And then it would become part of your minutes, I would think, that it's taken up at commission, and if there's something else that needs to go with it, we will add it and deal with whatever we need to at the night of commission as well. So, I thought,
And if it's approved, it's just sent on to full commission for approval, but it's like the commissioners that's on the budget committee, they watch this, they watch operations just like we watch budget. And so it's always great to hear things in advance.
sure.
Because once you get to the other meeting, you got that second chance to ask that question. That's what I like about it. So, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. It's in full commission for approval. Okay. The cybersecurity.
Oh, sorry, one more thing under the law director's report, my other motion, I know we was very
Oh,
vague.
yeah, that's right.
But,
Sorry.
there was, during the strategic workshop, we talked about, just consolidating committees, that was also on the Royals Committee. But for procedural purposes, not making any motions during that workshop and just having, or, for discussion purposes only and being transparent. I would like to make a motion for the law director to look into on the consolidating of committees, the TCA code and resolution, things that were done by TCA code or resolutions, so that he can do the research on that for us as a full commission, bringing it back to full commission, or you can bring it back to this committee in your report. But I will make that motion for the law director, to give that direction to the law director to look into that for us. Does that need to be clear for a second?
Any committee or?
He is looking at the commission committees only. So any of our committees that we have, I'm asking him to look into that. TCA code, what was done by resolution, can we consolidate some, can we not? Some are statutory, what does that involve? So,
Almost like what you did, or what was voted on for purchasing to go to budget.
Yeah, I don't see any,
same kind of thing.
I don't see any harm in this. I'll second it just to see what everyone thinks.
Okay. I just jump in here. What I would feel like needs to be done is we'll look at the statutory committees and look at the resolution committees with an eye towards what can be consolidated, what can be streamlined, and what can't be touched.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that as my motion.
Yeah, you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I don't know why you looked at me weird. I mean, that's exactly what I said. Thanks a lot, Director. Wordsmithing. A lot of degrees come in handy.
I'm going to be contrary on this one and vote no, just because I think, I mean, I appreciate streamlining and efficiency, but then you start to kind of consolidate power into maybe one committee, and then that becomes the desirable committee to be on. I think maybe there's a benefit to different commissioners are on budget, and maybe it's a little different makeup on audit and a little different here, just so everybody's kind of getting some experience and having some impact in all the committees. So if you just streamline them, I think that's, and I know everything still has to go through full commission, but I don't know, I think if we, case by case, if we see a committee that maybe is superfluous, we can do away with it at commission level, but as far as combining, I'm not ready to do that.
Commissioner Foster?
And this motion that I'm making does not get rid of any committees currently. It's just looking at it. If we want to look at what could we get rid of or what could we combine, like I'm going to use legislative and intergovernmental relations. That's one an example of that could be purchasing, budget, how it was joined. I'm not saying we get rid of every committee. To a lot of our committees, we make a motion to send it to operations, or if it goes through budget, it ends up going through the two main committees, which has representation of all members of all districts, and some committees don't. So just looking at that, but nothing in my motion not eliminates committees.
Any other discussion? I know back in 2011, Commissioner Meredith talked about what I think it was Knox County. They have 2 meetings a month. So everything's taken up at one committee, everything. And then the next full commission is really just voted up and down, kind of like what we're supposed to do with our committees, is respect what our committees say, and then just vote on it when it comes back to full commission. But, anyway, anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All no?
No.
Got 2 noes, okay. Motion passes. Forward to full commission.
Mr. Chairman, just quickly, that 9 a.m. Friday, Legal Services Committee will meet. You don't have to be a member. In fact, we've had several commissioners attend that meeting, and it's open, and there is discussion from some of those. Certainly cannot make a motion, but they certainly give input. So I'd encourage all my fellow commissioners, if they'd like to attend. It's Friday at 9 a.m. Legal Services, I believe it's in room 118.
You know, that's
And
one of
I'd
the...
also like to maybe have that, the minutes from that, instead of going straight to commission, maybe to go to operations, so we can look at the results there too.
That's a good idea. Good idea. In some of these meetings, like Friday, the strategic planning, I had people out, so I couldn't attend, but Commissioner Palmer actually put it on the phone so I could listen and partake. And like a lot of these NACO meetings that I attend, you know, I just listen to them and I write my notes down. Is that something we can do? I think we've got that little thing down there, you know, if it's in 118, it's like a conference call where people can call in.
Well, the
Listen.
Legal Services Advisory Committee was formed under a private act.
Yeah.
And if we are debating or discussing issues that are of legal nature, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to
I
do it.
understand. Yeah, good idea. Good point, good point. All right, motion passes. Okay, was that all you wanted?
That's all I
Under the
got.
law director report?
Thank you.
Okay, the cybersecurity for phones and computers, our IT director couldn't be here tonight for sickness because he's got a presentation. And I'll tell you what brought it on is because we talked about Sal that passed away, okay? And this is how ruthless people are, is they put out bogus obituaries on him, asking for donations. One of those actually is a virus if you click on it. And here's what happens, is you click on it, you don't think unless you got a certain app, it won't tell you it's a virus. And what they do is they come in and they get the information off your SIM card, and you don't even know it. Because one of those that was sent to me for me to look at, because I've got some updated virus stuff on my phone, it showed it as a virus. And I called Brian and talked to Brian about it, and I said, here we have, you know, when you get these bogus things, just like, you know, Sal's a very beloved person, you know, and it's a great church community, you know, church family. And they're wanting, you know, if you go out and say, hey, we need a donation for Sal, what's going to happen? You know, especially some of our older generation that's not familiar with this, but there's actually an app that he's going to talk about. He's going to do it next month that you put on your phone or your computer. It's no cost, and it's real high security. It'll tell you if it's a virus, and it also will eliminate robocalls and spam calls from your phone. So he's going to do a presentation on that next month. Okay. All right, we'll move on unless somebody's got any questions that I can't answer. No. But anyway, strategic planning update.
Yeah, so we had the strategic planning meeting on Friday. Thought some really good turnout and had some good conversation of kind of where we're at. Appreciate the mayor help leading that discussion, and Denise for all her work on the food and getting us all rounded up together. And appreciate the ones that could attend. I know not everybody could attend because of work schedules and stuff. Thanks for calling in. But really productive, had some really good conversations, and I think you'll see some things from those discussions that will come out to go to committees so we can take action items on them. Obviously, there was no votes or anything like that cast, and the law director was there to keep us within our boundaries of a workshop, but very productive, and I think it's something that we can look at and continue to look at those priorities every year and see where we're making. But like we were looking at priority number 1, and we had hit everything on it and really, and then some of the things that go, hey, we've done this and, number 3, but we haven't accomplished it in number, half of it yet, and we still want to look at that, and now that becomes more important. So just kind of give the update, and we'll have more of a report from that too. The mayor's working on that, kind of all the notes and that were put together and stuff, but just kind of appreciate everybody being there.
All right, that takes us, unless somebody's got any statements or questions, we'll move on to new business. Commissioner Wandale?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I've been doing a little research on the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee is what we started maybe 2 years ago. And then we made all these recommendations. One of the last recommendations was to form on resolution number 24-01-1151 was a resolution to create the Animal Shelter Oversight Committee. That resolution went through the proper channels, went through the proper committees, came out of that initial committee I mentioned, and then it was forwarded to this body and passed unanimously. It then went to full commission on the March 18th full commission meeting. I want to be very clear when I make these comments going forward that my fellow commissioners don't feel as if I'm trying to play an in-round game or a game of gotcha. I'm going to be as genuine as I can. The one thing I do know is we have followed all the procedures properly and we got to where we are. So, with all that said, the motion passed March 11th in operations unanimously. It was forwarded to full commission. Got to full commission on March 18th. It was on the agenda. We made a motion to have it voted on. I think myself or Commissioner Barron made that motion, and we took a vote. I could have swore it was on the, the voting panel, but I guess it wasn't. I then followed up with an email on, I believe it was the 20th of March, asking for the votes, who voted which way. I had many people reaching me wanting to know who voted how. The response I had is it was a voice vote and it failed. So I'm not sure what the next step is, but I think I would like to bring this resolution back up. And keep in mind, commissioners, it's okay if you vote no and you don't want to do it. I'm cool with that. But Mr. Chairman, I've been attending too many meetings on full commission where we do voice votes and we don't seem to capture how we vote. And one of the rules I learned about today in the Rules Committee is any commissioner has the right to ask for it to be placed up on the board, unless that rule gets changed. But I'm going to run by that rule going forward. So my request is, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add resolution number 2024-01-115 to the agenda to be presented to full commission to take a roll call vote so we can dispatch of it properly or not. And the reason I'm asking is I'm not sure how I voted. I don't know if I voted yes to support it or no to not support it. I can't tell you. I can't find how I voted. So to clarify that for myself, that's my request to make this motion to add the resolution back to the agenda for tonight, take action on it, forward it to full commission to take action on it. And I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion second. And that's why normally when I do a roll call or a voice vote, I'll say unanimous, which means everybody's voted for it unless somebody says no. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
let's raise our hands. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
But that's just added to the agenda? That was the,
To add to the agenda.
okay.
Yeah.
Are we getting ready to vote on it?
No, it's going to commission.
Commission
Is that right?
agenda?
Going to
Okay,
commission
so I always
agenda.
thought we were adding it to the agenda tonight, but.
No. That's to
The
go.
whole discussion was,
I suspect your vote would be no either way, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Again, I said,
Right.
everyone can vote no,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
absolutely.
No love lost here. I'm just trying to use the rules that we have to make sure that we're doing it properly. If that motion would have failed, I'd have made another motion because I was on the prevailing side, I think. That's the downside of voting roll call. And I'm not disparaging on our chairman. The chairman has complete authority to do what that chairman wants to do, how they want to do it. But any other motions like this in the future, I would just suggest that our fellow commissioners, if it's important and you know you got some constituents wondering about that vote, we should make it a roll call vote. I know Commissioner Foster has requested those in the past, and I like that idea, and I think we should continue it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on that? Let's see, who is next? Commissioner Capshaw.
Oh, yes. So I have, one of the big projects going on in District 6 is the Atomic Elks Lodge 1301 Community Use Project. And so we discussed, I met with them, and they've also sent a letter to all the commissioners talking about the funding. So they won a grant from DOE for $1.99 million. And so what's happened now, it was approved last year, but the funds right now are being held up. They're not being released. So that project is up in the limbo. And so what they were asking is if we, as full commission, what I'd like to bring before, to get voted on tonight and have it brought before full commission, is a letter of support being sent to our state reps, anyone that can help with getting the funds released so that this project is not left in limbo. If we could have a letter of support. And if you don't mind me, I can read the letter real quick of what they asked.
Absolutely.
So it's from the Atomic Elks Lodge, and so it's first, thank you for the work you do on behalf of the residents of our city, county, state, and nation. I'm writing you today concerning an agreement between the Department of Energy and the Atomic Elks Lodge 1301 Community Use Project approved in the summer of 2024. Energy Cast featured a story regarding DOE approval of the project on October 30th, 2024. The grant approved under the agreement will be one of the Scarborough community's first sizable economic development projects. The project's primary goal is to add financial, educational, and medical assistance for people living in Scarborough and nearby communities. The approved project would provide trainers who would serve as resources to recruit and train residents, creating a significant economic benefit. We are respectfully requesting that Congress members and senators push for a release of grant funds so this needed project can proceed. This project will most certainly impact the lives of Oak Ridge Scarborough residents. Economically, the grant will provide a commercial incubator space to support DOE contractors, local businesses, etc., as well as provide an educational venue for youth and adult residents in the Scarborough community. Educationally, Atomic Lodge 1301 will seek partnerships with area schools and community colleges, trade schools, after-school programs, and career professional programs. The grant also provides training resources to recruit and train residents, creating a significant economic benefit for future labor needs. Additionally, the project will house medical resources from Oak Ridge Free Medical Clinic, which provides no-charge primary and medical care for low-income and uninsured Tennessee residents. The project is supported by DOE and the Oak Ridge City government and falls within the guidelines for new development in this economically disadvantaged area. Finally, this property has historical value as it was a part of the Manhattan Project and the Atomic Energy Commission. We request your support with implementing the project as per their agreement set forth by DOE, ensuring that the Scarborough Elks Lodge Community Use Project continues with the implementation as soon as possible. Any and all consideration will be greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Mabry Duff, Technical Point of Contact. Maria Catrone, project manager, and she's with the Oak Ridge Housing Authority. They're also they're the administrator of the grant, and Albert Beasley, Charlie Bell, and Rose Weaver, and they're the key personnel on that project. So I'm just asking for support, a letter of support from full commission, if we could move that forward.
Okay. She's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barron. Any discussion? The question, go ahead, Commissioner Barron.
Yeah, I was saying, this holdup is just something that came about recently, right?
Yes, recently.
Okay, from the Trump administration?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to understand.
And you know, it's
Make
a
sure.
freeze across the board, but just letting them know this is an important project. And right now, we're in limbo. We're trying to move forward, and we can't because those funds are frozen.
Mayor, would that be something that need to be directed to Congressman Fleischman?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as, I would like to look at the letter. I mean, I was listening, but I have a hard time. I like to read. If you can get it in the minutes or send it to us, that would help as well. So I know some of the things are frozen, but then they've been unfrozen. So I think it kind of depends on.
As of Friday, I mean, it still was frozen there because
Okay.
I'm checking.
Okay.
Yeah, but, yeah, if you can, that way we can add it to the minutes, the
Okay.
letter.
Okay.
So, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. And we'll take that up under full commission. Let's see. Foster, you got everything taken up that you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay. I skipped unfinished business to move on into new business. Do we have any unfinished business?
I'd like to just make one comment. Mr. Chairman, I just want to, thank EMA, all the volunteer fire departments, all the emergency responders for the Morgan County response. It was really heartwarming to be at home, hear that radio go off. Chief Burrell got on there. Within a matter of minutes, our county started responding. And thanks to that TAC radio that each one of us approved, they were able to respond immediately, and then they had all this equipment, all these people, and I just can't thank Bryce enough for what he does, and EMA and his staff and all the emergency responders for responding to our neighbors in Morgan County, and that was a real encouraging thing as a commissioner to see that happen, so thank you.
Again, a reminder, we don't meet Monday. We meet the following Monday after that, 2 weeks from today.
Commissioner Anderson?
While he's here, Mr. Burge, I wanted to thank him publicly. We discussed in December about trying to get his book into the libraries, and I reached out. He delivered it to our 4 libraries. He delivered a copy to Oak Ridge and Oliver Springs, and when I said, "What do I owe you?" he wouldn't take any money. So he funded that out of his own pocket.
You're talking about the book is Amazon's #1 bestseller?
Yes. It's in every library in Anderson County, plus Oak Ridge and Oliver Springs.
That's great. That's great. And all my grandchildren and everybody else, I could get one too. You want to talk anything about the volunteer fire departments, the chili suppers? And I know Marlowe's coming up.
Yes, Marlowe has one on Saturday the 8th. I think it starts at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else has got anything, but I would certainly encourage everybody to go.
Medford's is March 8th.
Medford's.
Yeah.
Not sure about Marlowe's. I might have missed that.
I think it's before.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think.
Medford was always one that first kicked off all of them. I thought Medford was always first.
For some reason, I thought I seen some.
It's that weekend of the 20th, because it's always on they do it on my granddaughter's 6th birthday, so, or her birthday.
Marlowe.
Bring her to the chili supper for her
No,
birthday.
she's in Florida, so.
Yeah.
But nothing says happy birthday like a bowl of chili there, Mayor.
Unless they changed it, I saw it online too, but
So Marlowe's is the 20th, you think, somewhere?
February 20th.
February
Whatever
20th.
that Saturday is.
In front of Bear Steve.
21st or-
Yeah, I think it is the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, because, used to, Medford had theirs earlier, but now we've moved into March.
Wait, when, is that the 12th we're going to meet on the fire study?
I don't have that in front of me. I
Bryce,
think
do you
so.
remember
It's
when that is?
Wednesday, the 12th?
Yes, was that at 12 or 4:30?
And who's invited to that?
All the commissioners, fire departments.
Okay.
22nd.
So that's February 12th? at
22nd.
No, March 12th,
March 12th, 4:30.
room 118.
Is 4:30, is that the right time? 118. All right,
And
thank you.
February 22nd on Marlowe.
February 22nd tomorrow. Thank you.
Anything else?
Is that what your number is?
Motion to adjourn.
That's what I came
Thank
up
you.
with. So I was
Thank you.
thinking like